Good morning, everybody. This is Grant Sparks. Today, we're talking about how I am still the problem. Yes, I built 13 plus and counting right now. 13 plus regular AI agent-driven automations that run without my presence. And I am still the problem. I have talked to how many entrepreneurs that I cannot even tell you. In the last 2 weeks alone, we've gotten a tree trimmer to become a consultant with their AI. And now they actually have a paying gig where they're not up in a tree anymore, but they're actually getting paid to do consultant work. We've got another guy that just mentioned his AI at the gym. I just literally got a text from Nicole. She's at the gym right now while I'm doing the show this morning. And she told me that someone walked up and with the tools I gave them, they went ahead and they launched their own AI and they're up and running. This tree trimmer, by the way, has always felt behind the 8 ball. They always felt like they were following the market. They felt like they weren't tech savvy. Yet in just a few weeks with the AI setup we helped them get set up, they are light years ahead. But what it reveals is this. What it reveals is that we are still the problem. Now, we say this jokingly because in a lot of sci-fi, AI is set free and then reminds us that we, the humans, are the problem. And I'm going to share with you a little bit today on what I've discovered in the last 2 weeks of launching over 13 AI-driven automations. I have 3 sub-agents that work all the time now. I've gained 13 to 14 hours a week back to myself. But what it reveals to the business owner, the average business owner, about themselves. We're going to be covering this and more in today's episode of the Grant Sparks Show, number 374. 13 new AI automations, and I am still the problem. Let's talk about it. So you can automate everything. You can delegate nearly everything. And we know that this is like an AI world we now live in. And in just a few months ago, yes, we knew about AI. Yes, we heard about the AI apocalypse. Yes, we heard about the impending doom of AI. Let me turn this audio off. 2 months ago, we were talking about it, and it was being force-fed to us. Now, I am literally DMing right now with a client from the website company who has jumped in wholeheartedly into embracing AI, and he is now spending his evenings learning AI. And in the last 2 weeks, as I already mentioned, I've worked with multiple entrepreneurs, my mastermind guys, Ryan and TC, some folks at the gym even, and then just a variety of clients who are jumping on the bandwagon, automating everything from email management to creating of ads to getting some of their operational systems up and running. And they are seeing the improvements in their business immediately. 2 months from now, anyone who is working on this right now, 2 months from now, they will have a permanent stratified moat between them and their competitors. If you are a small business owner and wondering if you should dabble, I am literally texting with a pest control client of mine, and he's a pest control guy. He's been doing it for years. He knows the vocabulary. He has a permanent moat ahead of his competitors. No, you don't have to know everything about AI, but you need to move beyond AI enablement. Today, hear it now, in this live, 2 months ago, some people were dabbling. 2 weeks ago, average Joes, blue-collar, service-driven clients of mine have leaped past their competitors in leads generated, in sales closed. I had my head down for about a full month, and I was developing some systems. I came up for air and immediately implemented those systems and sold another $4,000 worth of work. Because of AI, deliverables are not just faster, they're now higher quality, because in all of our deliverables, we are delivering a project AI custom to them so that they can talk to the project. We are now living in the future. And again, you're hearing it here first. 2 months from now, anyone who starts today will have a 2-month permanent moat. And that 2-month permanent moat will be exponential. Exponential. So I'm here to tell you that everything is changing. And I believe roughly February 2026, between January and February 2026, will be the time in history where a segment of the human population, no, you don't have to become cyborgs plugged into the matrix. You just need to be the average American business owner or average business owner, wherever you're at, who embraced AI in order to be more human. I challenged myself on Sunday to find a way to get my AI to run while I painted. And I was able to add paint to my painting. I challenged my AI to challenge itself. How can I work in the garden while you're working? And we did it. I stayed up in the morning. I was in the garden. We cleaned up a bunch of the house. We cleaned up the front patio. We did a lot. And the challenge to the AI that I presented it was that it's my executive assistant over all my other sub-agents in AI. And its job is to take manual labor off of me, information work off of me to free me up to do work that counts and work that matters. And I gave it certain days of the week. Work that matters on certain days of the week is making sales calls. Work that matters on a Saturday or Sunday is working on the house. But it needs to be working. This marks the day between January and February 2026, marks the time in history when there was a permanent moat built up between the owners who became AI intelligent and AI enabled. The difference is this: AI informed means you are aware generally of the vocabulary of AI, generally speaking, and you can speak it. We used to say this about marketing, and small business owners did not hear us that they needed to know the vocabulary of marketing. What's a ROAS? Which is return on ad spend? What's Meta Ads Manager versus LinkedIn Ads Manager? Believe it or not, there are still business owners that don't know the difference. Knowing those vocabulary in marketing has now transitioned to whether or not you know that vocabulary in AI. And if you don't know that vocabulary in AI in 2 months, your competitors will have a permanent moat. Now, that's okay because there's people who will be 2 months behind you. If you wait another month, another 2 months to get started to onboard into AI, you need to onboard into AI because it's a rocket ship that's taking off. So today we're going to unpack why getting time back is only half the battle. I believe that in doing AI, it will make us better business owners because we will be confronted with ourselves. But before we do any of that, if you're here on the Spark Show, you know we start with one thing: morning cup of gratitude. We're going to take 2 seconds to pause because AI should speed up our productivity so that we as humans can do more human things, right? And one of those is express gratitude. Let's start there. I'm currently grateful this morning for the machines that have taken on so much of my busy work that I'm confronted with my own flaws. I'm grateful for the mirror that it provides to myself. And I'm grateful that I am able to not just program speed and quality and efficiency and productivity, but I can program into it very human things. I have one whole AI, a sub-agent called Embers, and it monitors my calendar, and it monitors my productivity, and it monitors what the other agents are presenting to me in terms of my daily plan and stuff like that. And it asks, does this lead Grant towards his meaningful goals, his goals that build meaning in his life? And it influences the decision of all the other agents. It does this in the background, which is a nutty thing to think about, but it does it. I'm grateful for AI being a mirror to myself, and I hope that for you too. Real quick, in other news. This piece of other news came from the Harvard Business Review, and it's relevant to today's show real quick. And it was an article from the Harvard Business Review that found this, and I'll summarize it. And I'll drop the link in the comments here so you can have it. And it's this: the hidden beliefs that leaders hold are the very thing that's holding them back. It has been found in a massive piece of research by Muriel Wilkins that no matter how much we say it's, creative destruction or competition or the pace of change or access to capital and working capital, which are very big deals. I went through I had to obtain some capital for some migrations we were doing to move our hostings for our website clients from one hosting service to another. And I was going to save 60% on my hosting fees, but I needed a large chunk of cash up front. Access to capital is difficult. But what this piece of research was by Muriel Wilkins was that it's actually the paradigms, the decision-making that are the actual core obstacle more so than any external obstacle. Now, we kind of give ourselves tongue in cheek, like, oh, I knew that. Let me copy this and put this in the comments for you. People will say, oh, I knew that. This is the actual hard research, and it's dropped in the comments on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're at. Basically, this research pointed out and has empirical data that it is actually fear and concepts which are represented around the decisions because the decisions are being procrastinated. I observed something in the last 2 weeks as I was working on all of these agents, and instead of like SOPs now, we don't even have SOPs. We have systems and parameters for the agents to accomplish this with their own creativity, which is what you want for any employee. You want less rules around an employee, and you want that employee to be more intrinsically driven or self-motivated to accomplish something, and you just give them guardrails. That's really where productivity is going. It's less on systems, and yes, you need to be able to point to the processes that go on, but it's more about a conversation with an AI agent that can do most of the work, but with parameters of quality, parameters that match your brand voice, those sorts of things. But when all of that is taken into account, what I discovered in the last 2 weeks is that my brain was fatiguing much quicker. And it wasn't just because I was, handling a bunch of tasks. It wasn't just because I was task switching. I realized the task switching I was doing was that my sub agents, I would set my sub agent off and I would think that they're going to be busy for the next half hour so I can knock this one task out. And they would come back in 5 or 10 minutes. And they would ask a question for a decision, and I tried to upgrade their decision making, but I realized this. The average business owner is going to move into the taste making category, the decision making category. But we're going to be confronted with a flood of these decisions that we've been procrastinating. Most business owners can make these decisions already, and they could probably accelerate the work around them already without AI. If they just make some decisions. But we procrastinate the decisions because we think it needs so much deep work that we need another 15, 20, 30 minutes. But when AI is serving up these decisions every other minute, and then you're looking at their work, and I'm not saying I'm just pencil whipping. I'm actually looking at their work, and I'm going, this is good work. Let's push it. Commit and push, or whatever the phrase is, so that it pushes to GitHub. What we're realizing is decision fatigue and decision procrastination is what a lot of owners, and me included, have been doing. But I'm realizing if I make decisions quicker, for example, this was the largest single financial decision I've made for our business in a long time. This idea to move our hosting from the host that we've had for nearly 7 years to a new hosting account. And it was primarily a financial decision because our economy is doing a lot and we needed to really find more margin in the company. But I needed to find a certain amount of change, and I had to then pull a certain line of credit. The largest financial decision I ever made. I ran it through ChatGPT. Then for extra measure, I ran it through our custom Claude code, and I created a whole project and parameters around it. I had them fact check each other until they both had the same facts. And then we realized, okay, this financial decision plays out no matter what. We need to make this financial decision. And I procrastinated a day just to sit on it. I had all the data. AI had all the data. I just had to sit on it to feel comfortable with it. I didn't need any more data. I didn't need to check with my character. I knew that this was a thing that needed to happen, and I procrastinated the decision yet another day. This Harvard Business Review article that I put in the comments is simply this. Most of us already know what to do. We're procrastinating the decisions that we are making until we feel comfortable with the decision. And I challenge you, as it comes to AI, you are procrastinating, jumping both feet into AI, and it will create a moat for your competitors. That moat is basically you will not be able to invade your competitors because if they have a permanent moat, meaning and that permanent moat is just speed and time and fluency in what's going on. Because you could onboard into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is already old news. Even the latest model pales in comparison to Claude. And then something else will come along. How do you pivot so quickly? Because there's infrastructure in AI where you can just change services and you don't miss a beat. The power's in your hands, and that's what we help people do from a coaching perspective. This Harvard Business Review article is the empirical evidence that this is what's going on. So that's the news. Check out the other news. You already know what's going on in the world. We're just going to move forward with the lesson so that you can kind of get what's going on. Here it is. Let me tell you what happened last week. As I've already said, I built 13 agents. I built an email thing that triages itself. I built a daily briefing that goes out to me. I built a daily briefing that goes out to Nicole, our business development person and marketer. I built a prospect pipeline. I have 5 new leads a day that are qualified leads. And then I built a second thing that builds their website before we even call them. So when I call them, I have a free website to give them if they want that website, or if they want an upgrade, there's a small upgrade. That puts the power in our hands big time. And now we've realized we can't move fast enough. We can't focus enough on the assets we've built. Literally this morning, Nicole's on her way to the gym and she's telling me, man, listen, like, there's too much to do, basically. Like, she's got a long list of stuff she's got to do. I got a long list of what I got to do. But we've now built so many assets, we can't even keep up with those assets. And it hasn't even turned into revenue yet. But it's there. I built this in the last week. I built a clip cutting system that runs in the background that as soon as this drops, and it will drop into YouTube Live and be done, it automatically clips it. And we have already services like Opus Clips, but it does some extra zhuzh to it where I don't even have to decide in Opus Clips what goes out. It will clip it, it will schedule it, push it out, save me another 5 to 6 hours a week. 13 systems. And this represents, we calculated it together, about 14 hours a week it's saving me. And that basically is time back to me to do sales, to do marketing, that sort of thing. But you know what I caught myself doing? Have you ever had this where you actually finally were able to hire someone? And in this case, we're hiring, 13 AI agents, averaging about an hour of savings a week, which adds up to about 14, 15 hours a week of savings to me. And I can improve them and they don't take a day off, right? So you know what I found myself doing? Being totally vulnerable here. I found myself staring at my calendar with some free time that I didn't even know what to do with. Now, I'm obsessive about being diligent and disciplined and productive. So as soon as I saw this downtime, I just started to do more busy work. Maybe I was going to build more systems, reply to more emails. Let me tweak that one system a little bit more. Let me check my email inbox. I just given myself the equivalent over 2 weeks of of nearly a part-time employee, but I wasn't ready for it. Does that sound familiar to any of you business owners? You suddenly get an intern and you don't know what to do with that intern. That intern takes 5-10 hours a week off your shoulders. And suddenly you're thinking, well, it's just enough time to be an improvement, but not enough time for me to get into my next thing, which was the same flawed thinking you had on why you never got the work that the intern's doing now done. We could get into a hustle state where we actually knock things out in record time. I think it's called Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law is work expands to fill the time allotted. So we suddenly think, well, social media is going to take me 4 hours today. And guess what? It ends up taking about 4 or 5 hours. What happened if you told yourself, I'm going to totally lock in. It's going to take me an hour and a half. It usually ends up taking about an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's Parkinson's Law. And once you bring on an intern, once you bring on a part-time employee, once you bring on a baker's dozen of AI agents that you built, and you suddenly are sitting on anywhere between 12 to 15 hours extra a week, you're going to go through what I went through. And that is, you're going to be staring at your calendar and not being clear on what to do with my time. So what's worse about this is that now, there's so many new tools. There's so many new tools right now that you want to fill your time with these new tools and acclimate. AI is doing the same thing to business owners right now, but at 10 times the speed. This right here, this little light you see right here, this is a necklace that records any active conversation I have and creates notes. And those notes basically create the conversation. I can always fact check myself. Hey, did I say this or not? And so how many of us have had this thing? Well, they said I promised A, B, and C, and then you can check against it. So it's happening at 10 times the speed. You can automate anything, your inbox. But the tools are better than ever. And yet, if you're honest, most of you are still stuck. We are watching business owners. We have, historically, we've had about 250 clients. Right now, that's actually down a bit. We're about 180 clients right now on the website end. And we're watching these clients separate into 2 groups. They're groups like Kevin at Superior Spray, Daryl at the Pest Cartel, my guy, Ryan Chris at TC's Mobile Detailing, TC Bearden at Bigfoot Leveling. A lot of these clients are wholeheartedly embracing AI. And even though it hasn't necessarily translated into top line revenue entirely, it's made a massive difference. Kevin at Superior Spray, his engagements and his content is going through the roof because we used AI to generate some of that content and make it more interesting. Humarian, they've got amazing, interesting little engagements on their ads now that we're able to build some tests at scale. Not high level revenue yet, but it's showing signs. Now, the other group of our clients are closing. I'm handing my business off to my son. I'm literally, winding down this area of business. I'm not sure what to do next. There's a massive insecurity. And I think what we're seeing is that people are being faced with this mirror. They still feel stuck. And the difference is, I think at their core, they're saying I'm embracing change or I'm not. Because the bottleneck was very rarely ever the actual task. This is what we're learning from AI. The bottleneck is very rarely the task. It was never about the tool because everyone's got access to the same tools, right? Generally speaking, a massive change like AI, everyone has access to the same level of tools. Everyone has had access to social media now for the last 15 years. Some people leverage it. Some people didn't. Some people complain about the task of posting. Others just posted no matter how bad it looked. They just got started. It was never about the tool. Now we have AI. We see the same tendency. People are either embracing it and creating a permanent moat between them and their competitors, or they're poo-pooing it and going, I don't like AI slop, and that looks a little fake, and I'm not really sure I get any leverage out of it. It's not about those things. It's about who you're becoming in the process. And I think what they're really saying is, as with every change, Grant, there's always going to be something new. And I hate looking in the mirror because the mirror will tell you you're stuck because you're stuck, not because the task is stuck. It was you that was the problem. And I'm talking to myself here. It was my delaying of decisions that was the problem. It was my avoidance of work that I feel like sometimes might be below me, or I'm too tired to do, or I'd rather go to the gym, or I'd rather paint. I'd rather go surfing. I'd rather travel. It's called responsibility. And as business owners, we are pros at procrastinating, and AI just reveals this 10 times faster because I can set my AI agents and think that they're going to work for half an hour. They work for 5 minutes, and I didn't get my nap time, or I didn't get my whatever I was looking for in that period of time. So now you have more time. So why are you scrolling your phone? What are you looking for? Here's the good news. If you are the bottleneck, and as a consultant, as a coach, as a speaker, as a business owner, I know that you and your team, the human element, are the bottleneck. You need to not only upgrade your business with AI, you need to do it so that you are confronted with the other fact, and that is you need to upgrade yourself. I'm here to tell you, in the next 9 months, personal growth, personal development in the context of AI will become in vogue again, at least for those who want to progress. So today, let me give you a quick framework. Here's 5 shifts. 5 shifts you absolutely need to make in order to get back in alignment with your goals, but back in alignment with your goals in the context of AI. And before I hit you with this, listen, I'm not going to give you guilt. Owning that you're the bottleneck and you're the problem, I'm not trying to shame you. I'm trying to shake you up because I get shook up all the time. I'm the best at personally disrupting myself. I'm always trying to reinvent myself. So here it is. Number 1, observe the actual gap. This is the letter O, stands for owner. Observe the actual gap. The core question that you need to ask yourself is this: where is the real stall? Not where do you think it is, where it really is. Listen, you can spend time with your AI, describe your systems, share with it your processes, connect your Gmail to it, connect everything, and then ask, hey, diagnosis, what's the real problem? And it will say invariably, why did you take 2 days to get back to that prospect? Mine did. Why don't you just create the proposal and ship it? And I was like, well, let's create the proposal bot. And it did. I have a proposal bot. I just say, hey, create a proposal for this. And it looks through our rubrics. It looks through my website and sees all of our products and goes, okay, this is what you talked about on the call. Let me see the transcript. This is what they asked for, bro. This is what and here's the email draft. How much procrastination have I done on these phone calls? Huge. And I'm learning this. Prospects also have the same problem. I'm now shipping proposals within half an hour instead of 2 days. But now they sit on it and they're dragging their feet on decisions. It's a no-brainer in the math of our offer. Our offer is an irresistible offer, but they have doubts and they have fears and they second guess it. So the core question is, where's the real stall? Not where you think it is. Most entrepreneurs know what's wrong in theory, but they haven't diagnosed the actual point of failure. And you might say marketing isn't working, when the truth is you haven't made 5 sales calls this week. I'm trying to do 5 a day. I should be doing 10 a day. You say, I need a better funnel when you haven't followed up with the 12 warm leads or contacts in your phone, in your DMs, the people at the last networking event where you got business cards. It doesn't work. I need a better funnel. I need better branding. I need a better offer. Really? I mean, this is me talking to me. Stop diagnosing your stuff. And we call them armchair quarterbacks or Monday morning quarterbacks. Quit discussing what you should have done or you would have done from 30,000 feet. Get on the ground. Make the phone calls. Do the thing. And then as it comes to AI doesn't work. Have you built an agent yet? I mean, actually built one. I don't mean to get a plug and play one off the shelf. Have you opened up a free version of of Claude, and have you asked it, hey, let me connect my email, because there's this thing called connectors. You say connect email and it connects it. You say connect my Google Drive and it connects it. You say, could you look at this and just tell me what I need to focus on? Great. What can you automate? It's just what you ask. What can you automate? And then it says do this. And then you start to skill stack. If you haven't done that, you don't know if AI works for you. And I'm here to tell you, most entrepreneurs have just taken plug and play stuff off the shelf. This marbleism is marketed and they're named all very clearly. Those things will fail you in about 3 months. Guaranteed. I've already tested it. You need to actually start building your own stuff. So here's the action you can take for owning or observing the actual gap. Open up your pipeline, your calendar, or your task list, stick it in your AI, and then ask it, what is the one thing that's been sitting there undone the longest? That thing is your real bottleneck. Write it down. So in the owner framework, O, observe the actual gap. W is withdraw from busy work disguised as progress. Again, you can ask your AI, or you can ask your business partner, or you can ask yourself, what's busy work I do that's disguised as progress? Is this just busy work, but I'm calling it progress? So ask yourself, what are you doing that feels productive but isn't moving revenue or impact? Most of us business owners, our main focus needs to be driving revenue. We need to be marketing or in sales conversations or in upsales conversations with existing clients. If we are doing much else with our time, we either need to hire someone or, thank God, we need to deploy an AI to do that thing. We need to sit in the seat. So my new role in the company is I do sales calls and marketing, or I'm working on improving automations and systems. And by automations, I don't just mean, observe this or that. I mean real work that counts. Work that moves the needle or moves revenue or moves marketing. Something has to actually move revenue. So ask yourself, what are you doing that feels productive but isn't moving revenue or impact? Are you researching for 3 hours, redesigning your logo? Are you nitpicking the photos on your website? I can't tell you, in my experience now of doing websites, it's 2026. I started doing websites in 2004. That means I've been doing websites for 22 years. The number one problem with website design is owners think they know better than designers and prefer this photo over that photo. Listen, go on with your day and not like it. Get it done. Micromanaging, it kills websites. You're not lazy though. You're avoiding a hard thing by staying busy with an easy thing. It's easy for you to look at a website photo and go, I don't like this. Okay. That's easy for you to say, and then it's delegated to someone else and you feel like, oh, I'm being productive. Nope, you made it more difficult on designers because you're asking for stuff that's absolutely silly. But B, why don't you just take better photos? Well, I don't know how to do that. Or why don't you just go focus on sales, which you're supposed to be doing? There's so much more that we could be doing. And AI makes a lot of this worse because now you can be productively unproductive at machine speed. Let me say that again. AI makes this worse because now you can be productively unproductive just at machine speed, right? So the W here is, the action is list every task you did yesterday. And thank God for AI, because I have a document that's it's called Signals, and it's like a daily journal. And I ask it, hey, anything we worked on today, write it down in the Signals and put it in yesterday's journal entry so that we could always refer back to it. And it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's like a text document, like a note document. But you can list everything you did yesterday and put an R next to anything that directly generated revenue or moved a deal forward. That's convicting. That's convicting. If fewer than half of your items have an R next to it, your schedule is probably lying to you. And I'm telling you, I love the weekends because I do love to tinker. And most of my activities aren't revenue generating, but they are systems generating. But when it comes from Monday through Friday, maybe Monday through Saturday, over half of my activities should be revenue generating. Marketing, sales, proposals, right? Or improving the systems that do those three things. Anything else, and I'm procrastinating my role, my human role that AI cannot replace. Humans will very rarely be sold by AI in the very near future. AI is going to do a lot, but it's hard to sell other humans with AI. Human to human sales is going to become more relevant. So in this case, nearly half of your activities. Well, what do I do about my other activities? Find a way to delegate or offload them or shorten them. You can't get rid of it. If you have to do deliverables, which we are stuck in as a small business, we're often stuck in deliverables. And unless you're a high-end consultant, and that's the main thing you do, which is true for some people, but not everyone, you need to use AI to compress the time it's taking you to accomplish the deliverables. Every time you touch a deliverable that pulls you away from revenue or impact generating, you need to ask yourself, how can AI shorten this by half or more? In the owner framework, name your fear. What's the fear stalling you about that one thing? Why aren't you doing more than half of your activities in marketing and sales? What are you actually afraid of? Well, a lot of times people, man, I'm just tired. I'm emotionally spent. I got no bandwidth. And the idea of picking up the phone and selling another cold lead, it's just exhausting. Yeah. So it's got to be done. The idea of writing up another email drip campaign, I get it. The idea of finding new leads. I've been going to the same networking event for 15 years and I got no new leads. Listen, behind every stall is an excuse and a feeling. Fear of rejection in the sale when you pick up the phone, fear of judgment from your people, the public when you publish the video. I've procrastinated launching my AI coaching and consulting. I've done it here or there for my private team, my private clients, my mastermind clients, but I haven't rolled it out. I've been procrastinating, and I'm just going to do it now because I don't want people to see me jumping all the time. But historically, we are on the cutting edge of technology as it comes to like being available to the average user. So no, we're not on quantum computing, that sort of cutting edge technology. But what is cutting edge to the average business owner and gives them an edge? We've done that since Bitcoin. We've done that since drag and drop websites started in 2004. We were that in automations with Zapier and Make.com in the mid 2010s. And now we're here with AI. We've been touting AI for 2.5 years. I've procrastinated launching my onboarding community to onboard you into AI for 2 years. It's time now. This is what that Harvard Business Review article called hidden beliefs, your hidden fears. I call them invisible chains. You can't break a chain you won't name, right? When you name the boogeyman in the closet, it quits being a boogeyman, right? So here's the action. Complete this sentence. The reason I haven't done X is because I'm afraid that Y. Finish the sentence. I haven't done the thing I should be doing, X, because I am afraid that Y. I'm afraid that I'm embarrassed. I'm afraid I'm tired. I'm afraid they're going to say no. I'm afraid I'm going to find out that no one wants my service, which is a mirror of its own. The thing about being a business owner, it's personal development on crack, on speed, on cocaine. It's personal development because it's constantly waving a mirror in your face, asking and challenging you, are you going to step up and deliver? It's huge. So in the owner framework, OWNE is execute the uncomfortable thing. What's the one action I keep pushing to tomorrow? What's that riddle? What's the thing that's always coming but never arrives? Tomorrow, right? This is Eat That Frog. Brian Tracy popularized the book Eat That Frog, and it's basically the thing that you avoid, and everyone avoids sales and marketing to a point. I don't care if you say, I'm an insurance company. I know insurance. Time out. Are you the business owner? Yeah. You are in marketing that happens to sell insurance. You just happen to be the most qualified person in the building to come up with your marketing. Do you sell cars? No, you're in marketing and sales. You need to actually go into marketing that just happens to sell vehicles and moving metal. What is it you do? Eat that frog in the morning first thing. But here's the thing, AI can help you do that with a sharper edge. The uncomfortable thing isn't just important, it's usually the exact thing that would unclog your entire business. And most often that's sales. It might be something else. It might be a bad employee you've been procrastinating firing. There's a handful of other things, but I'm here to tell you 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, the pipeline is you or your team procrastinating picking up the phone or doing marketing of any kind. Whether it's the price increase conversation or content that reveals something about you that you feel is too personal, the breakthrough that's hiding behind your discomfort. Here's the action. Identify your number one avoided action. Do it in the next 2 hours. Hang up this show if you need to. Knock it out. Tackle it. Turn it from a boogeyman into a done task item and then move on. If we have to call 5 new leads, and that's on me and Nicole every single day, we call 5 new leads every single day with their website built, move forward. We call them, I've built you a website. Let's move forward. Then we got to follow up with the people we've already done that for. We have right now a pipeline of 20 or 30 people that we've actually sent these websites done and ready to, and we're ready to deploy them. We got to do the follow-up. We've been avoiding it hidden as I got to do deliverables. Me too. I've got to do my systems. I got to attend to the client. I have a meeting this morning at 9 a.m. with a client. Why? I got to fulfill it. But I've got to make a way. I've got to figure out a way to eat that frog. So here's the action. Identify your number one avoided action and do it in the next 2 hours, not when I'm ready, today, before you feel ready. Let momentum replace motivation today. Let momentum replace motivation. And here's the R in the owner framework. Repeat the rhythm, not willpower. The core question is this: do I have a system, a method, or am I relying on feeling like it? Here's one system I built, my book writing system. I write books, except I've let every excuse get in the way of me writing my last 2 books. So I create an AI agent. When I boot up my computer in the morning, give me the prompt. And then we write the prompt, or we write that chapter and deliver it. So I'm doing a chapter a day right now. We have massively accelerated. I'm going to start rolling out books probably every 6 weeks about stuff that we're working on and building that make your life easier, that take all the experiments I'm doing and make it palatable to you to shortcut your time. But that's a system. When I boot up, give me the prompt. I'll talk to you for 5 or 10 minutes. I'll actually dictate nearly all of it. You tidy it up and format it so that it's there. Then you put it against my brand voice, which we spent a ton of time building already, and ask me, Grant, does this sound like you? Or do you need to get in here and edit this thing? And this is all for draft 1, and then I'll go edit the whole darn thing. Willpower is a battery that gets drained. Systems are perpetual generators. If you need motivation to do the hard things, your system is broken. If it requires you to whip yourself up and be like, I'm going to go do this thing, you don't have a system. You have a hope and a prayer. And that is part of the moat. Anyone who gets these systems up and running, I just built this book writing system. If I'm producing a book let's just say every 2 months, that's now 6 books a year. Do you know how far ahead of any peers or competition, how my brand voice is going to be out in the world? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine if I am calling now 10 leads a day instead of 10 leads a month? Even if my closing rate goes down, I'm still light years ahead. The entrepreneurs who break through and create these systems are going to have permanent moats because it's not dependent on willpower. It's building systems. Weekly reviews, accountability. I have this thing checking my money daily and going, hey, what's going on with this? Hey, cut these expenses. Damn, okay. The goal isn't to feel like doing it. The goal is to have already scheduled it so feelings don't get a vote. So here's your action. Block 1 recurring block of time on your schedule this week for the thing you keep avoiding, but it keeps coming up. 30 minutes. Same time, every day of the week, every time. Make it non-negotiable. Sometimes you might need a physical trigger. Is it a certain place in the house? Do you have a certain cup of tea? Whatever that is to trigger you, you need to build those triggers in, but it's got to be on the calendar first and foremost. Let the calendar hold the line. Owner, how to own the change that needs to happen inside of you. And I'm telling you, AI is revealing this. The owner framework. O, observe the gap. E or W, withdraw from busy work disguised as progress. N, name your fear. What's going on with the fear and demystify it. E, Execute the uncomfortable thing first. R, repeat in rhythm. Become an owner of this thing. Don't let AI for a lot of people is getting ahead of people. It's getting out ahead of them. And they're so far behind, they don't even want to tackle it. It becomes resistance. I know one young man who has less than a 1 GPA, and this thing kills his momentum. He doesn't get out of bed. He doesn't get up and go. And he's not down in the mouth or depressed necessarily. He sees that it's so far out ahead of him. He's so demotivated out of the gate. This is where many business owners are today. I encourage AI, not because of overwhelm. I don't believe in that. But I do believe we have, for many years now, been sitting on our heels, watching time passes by, having every technological excuse. Well, this stuff's not there yet. I can't automate it. I've got all these limitations. But now with AI, you have next to no unknowns that you cannot know at a single query. And I mean very technical things. I don't know how to build it. I need a very expensive app. It might cost me 30 or 40 grand. I've built multiple apps in the last 2 weeks. Doesn't cost hardly anything. I've spent at most on one of the apps, I think $100. It's out the window. All of your excuses are gone, and we're faced with ourselves. So I'm here to encourage you today. If you are the bottleneck in your business, congratulations. That means you have stopped procrastinating that self-analysis. That means you don't need more tools. You already have AI. You have every tool you need right now. And by that, I mean AI can tell you what you need, what you don't need. It can interpret everything. And you can have that at the free tier for most all of your AI tiers. I recommend Claude. You don't need a better market. You don't need easier competitors. You need to observe your real gap, withdraw from fake promise, name your fear, execute the uncomfortable thing, and repeat and build a rhythm. Own it. And you're going to watch everything unstick. Listen, why am I talking about any of this? Because I'm concerned about a lot of you, like I'm concerned about that young man. He thinks he's fine. He's not even depressed. A lot of you think you're fine. A lot of you think, I'm just going to keep going. I remember when COVID hit, we had been telling restaurants long before COVID, they need a web presence. Oh no, we are location-based. People know to order. They call in their order. I remember one local restaurant downtown nearly went out of business. They had to get major grants from the government. And they called us actually, and we talked through it. They didn't end up going with us, but they called us in the middle of COVID while their competitors were picking up all the DoorDash business and all the stay-at-home mandates, and they nearly went out of business because they didn't have a website. This is that scenario for you. You need AI, but not for any reason, not to get caught up in the cortisol-driven, out-of-control capitalistic need to produce more, but so that you face yourself more, because we have been procrastinating, tackling some of these systems. We've been feeling overwhelmed. We don't know where to start. We can't open up a new productivity app, but to be able to talk to something like AI and it fix that gap, and us have to be faced with ourselves that we have another free hour in the afternoon. And now we know that we're motivation driven because we don't feel like doing the work we should. That's the mirror we're facing. I encourage you to face it today, because if you are not going to, you will fail. Like a lot of those companies we saw close in COVID. I'm seeing another trend like that with my business owners. And we'll reduce our client load and then we'll increase our client load. That's just how it goes. But this is what I call the AI apocalypse. It's not all bad, but you need to take ownership today. Listen, I'm starting a group, a private community. If you want help onboarding in AI, we're going to drop you links very soon. We're going to drop those to you. Get on board. There's going to be multiple tiers. If you're just a beginner, this will be built for you, but I cannot encourage you enough. This is a life raft. For those of you who feel behind and don't know how to catch up, we're going to give you our secret sauce. We even have a tier where we will build your systems for you. I'm going to give you more about that soon. Reach out. But remember, why do we talk about any of this? Remember the mission. Come on, remember the mission. Igniting lives of explosive significance, starting with your own. Have a great day.